we can empower our journey even more powerfully. So Mercury, the winged messenger, he has this really, he's a very beautiful god, and moves very quickly, just like the planet. It's the tiniest planet, spinning really fast. Makes lots of trips around the sun. So there's a high movement, dynamic, communicative energy. But Mercury also connects to intelligence. You have to be smart to be fast and communicate well, right? So when the moon, this inward motion, is connecting to all of this mercurial energy that's in front of us, we have an opportunity to really kind of have an honest inner dialogue. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. Because if you can't have an honest dialogue with yourself, who can you have an honest dialogue with? Delusion separates us from transformation. Delusion is the illusion, right? So when we can begin to break down these walls, when we can begin to understand, oh, I'm getting greater clarity into how I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, suddenly it's easier to give grace when someone else maybe sees the world a completely different way, or sometimes they may see the world exactly the same way, and it just makes it more complicated to be kind to them because we haven't quite figured out our own definition, our own integrous aligning, and so we're actually reflecting back an aspect of ourself in someone else. It's tricky, isn't it, this thing we call life? But fortunately, we're all in this together, and we absolutely are. So I'm so glad that you're here, and that we can really begin to deep dive in this beautiful lunar energy today. This trine, and trine just basically means that it's well, think of it as like a trinity, right? There's always good flow in a space of trinity, and we know that not only from science, we know that from metaphysics as well. Think about a triangle or a chair. It's really hard to balance on a chair whenever there's only two legs. But when we build that third leg of community, it's the first place the energy becomes grounded. So a trine works very much in that same way. There's a very beautiful dance that can happen because of the balance that exists. So I'll be curious to see where the bowls are taking us today. They've been very quiet this morning. I don't know if they're like, where are we? Trying to figure out where they are in space. Probably not, though who knows, maybe. But also I think there's this softness, there's this quietness that you can really feel in the air as we begin to turn back and reflect and come back into ourselves. Perhaps that's really what they're inviting us to do today. There we go. Yay for hearts. You feel that too? You know what? Do me a favor. Just put one hand on your heart. Close your eyes. And silently or out loud, if you can say this out loud even better, repeat to yourself, I am loved. I matter. I make a difference in this world. My existence is unique, and I am perfect just as I am. There is always an opportunity for growth. There's always an opportunity to learn more about myself. Good. I speak with honest sincerity. I love myself. Beautiful. Good. Just let that go. Just felt like sometimes it's good to have that gentle reminder. It's easy to walk away, to move away from the truth whenever there's other things in life that bring us into patterns that shift us away from the fullness of who we are. So with every session, we're going to really concentrate on 3 areas today. We're going to just retune our system so that we can release and then receive. So I welcome you now to find a comfortable position, whether it's seated or lying down. Just begin to witness your breath. It's very easy to become present. When we listen to the inflow and outflow of life force in our system. What do you notice about your breath today? Do you feel points of constriction within your body? Just notice. You don't have to do anything. Return your focus back to just your breath. I'd like you, if you can, just gently open your eyes for a moment. And I'd like you to place a finger directly below your nose. You don't have to necessarily touch your face. What we're going to do is witness which nostril releases more or less air. Do you have a dominant nostril right now? Did you find yours? Is it left, right, or equal? There's no right or wrong, and here's why. So, the right nostril, with an exhale, releases, it's connected to the masculine side of the body. That's the sun side. Sun, S-U-N. The left side connects to the moon, and it's the feminine element. Our body, every 40 to 48 minutes, will shift its dominant side. When we're in good health, it'll only take a few minutes for it to shift from the sun side, for instance, to the moon side. If our health is more challenged, it takes it a little bit longer, upwards of 48 minutes. However, when we find balance between the left and right, the sun and moon, the masculine and feminine, you'll find both sides of the breath are balanced. It's neat, isn't it? Yeah. Simply by generating awareness of who you are, you learn so much, not only about yourself, but about everything around you. This is integrity. This is also freedom. Today, let's cultivate both. And breathe. There's a beautiful little writing by Osho that I wanted to share with you. Food for thought for today. It's called Believe in the Eyes. Never believe anything unless you've experienced it. Never form any prejudice, even if the whole world is saying something that is so, unless you have encountered it yourself. The great Indian mystic Kabir says, quote, "Never believe in the ears, just believe in the eyes. All that you have heard is false. All that you have seen is true." This saying should be carried as a constant remembrance because we are human beings and we tend to speak fallacies. We are part of this whole mad world, and that madness is inside every human being. Don't let it overpower you. One has to continuously remember. It is arduous because prejudices are very comfortable and easy. You don't have to pay for them. Truth is costly, precious. You have to pay much. In fact, you have to put your whole life at stake. Then you arrive at it. But only truth liberates. So looking at other people and the functioning the same type of mind is hidden in you also. So never listen to it. It will persuade you, it will argue, it will try to convince you. Just tell it, I will see for myself. I am still alive. I can encounter whatever is needed. Dialogue. It takes what? Two. Otherwise, it's a monologue. When we have inner dialogues, with whom do you think you are communicating? It's a reflection of what you perceive as yourself, am I correct? But you see, in that perception, there is a distortion, because with whom you're speaking is what we call the mind. The ego. And just like a reflection in the mirror, yes, it's true, it is us. But it's just a reflection. And how often do those funny mirrors accurately portray our wholeness? Usually not. A state of dialogue as opposed to honest monologue, truth, knowingness, your innate intelligence. That's your design. The ping-ponging back and forth is a mind's construct that moves us towards a place of insanity and away from knowingness, away from truth. It's in these quiet moments you cultivate your own liberation. So think, imagine, or feel a rainbow of light, any or all colors that you want to bring in this moment, and just see them showering over your entire body. Where do these colors land? Where do they fall? Where do they get stuck? Using your gift of intuition, however great or small you think that it is, just trust you are seeing clearly, and so it is. Allowing these releases to happen. releasing even more of anything that no longer serves you in your space. I love this idea that nature abhors a vacuum. So any place that there is room for opportunity, for growth, for new potential, for something to fill a void, nature delivers. It doesn't always have to be what we think it should be. It doesn't always have to be maybe what we think we deserve. Let's see if we can't begin to bring in energy that serves you in this moment. What can you honestly, from a place of integrity, unencumbered by any outside voices or even an inner voice that maybe isn't the best of friends for you? What do you, on a deep, deep level, know that you'd like to bring in? There's no limitation. There's nothing that can't be done in these next few moments. So release any thought of how or why, or when, or where. Just let all that go. There is only you, who you are, truly, honestly. And a miracle. So you choose your miracle today and begin to bring in that resonance. I invite you to think, imagine, or feel a color, a thought, a picture, a vibration, a sound, a word, an emotion. Whatever best connects you with your miracle. Good. Now step forward in your mind's eye towards your miracle. And as you do, see your miracle charging at you like a long-lost friend, waiting to embrace you from a place of wholeness, anxious, excited anticipation, limitless opportunity. Receive that. Take a deep inhale in, hold at the top, drinking in your miracle, then let it go. Good. I invite you now to bring a gentle focus to the top of your head, the crown area of your head. Almost as though whenever you get the chills, the chills run all the way up from the base of the spine, landing that very crown center at the top of your head. I'd like you to think, imagine, or feel a beautiful violet color, the most exquisite amethyst violet you have ever seen. And just direct that color into this crown part of your head, wherever it feels good to you. This crown is our 7th chakra. This Adhaswara chakra, and this sound that vibrates this area is the universal sound of Om. 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 Then begin to direct your attention just below the crown chakra to our 6th chakra, the Ajna chakra. It's near the pineal gland. Think, imagine, or feel a beautiful midnight sky indigo color, like that we see in the stars every night. This is your seat of intuition. And the area that is activated by the sound Sham. 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 You know that you know that you know. Sham. Shifting your focus towards your throat, the Vishuddha chakra, the 5th chakra, that seat of expression. Expression into the world and expression internally. The truth, our monologue. Seeing beyond any inner dialogues, turning them into pure truth. Think, imagine, or feel the most glorious sky blue color, bringing it into your throat chakra. The vibration which activates the throat chakra is hum. 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 Allowing your attention to drift down towards your heart. Thinking, imagining, or feeling emerald green. Bringing in as much emerald green color into your heart space, your heart area that feels good to you right now. Bathe in this green color. This is a point of integration. now shifting our attention into our solar plexus, third chakra, the Manipura. Our seat of power, inner fire. And invite in a golden citrine flame. The color of sunshine. Good. The sound of the solar plexus is Ram. 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 Directing your attention now towards your navel area, our second chakra, the Svadhisthana chakra. And invite into this abdominal area an orange color, a happy, vital, creative orange. Filled with life, vitality, vigor. The sound of the Svadhisthana chakra is Vam. 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 And then allowing our focus to settle, to ground into our sacrum area, the base of our spine. Sitting in this bowl, the deepest part of who you are physically, where you resonate. This Muladhara chakra is where we find true alignment. Invite in a beautiful ruby color, a ruby red. Some of you today may want to make that a garnet red. Find the red that's right for you. Muladhara chakra is Lam. 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 Lam, Lam. Take a deep inhale in. Hold it at the top. Let it go. Take another deep inhale in. Letting it fill your lungs, hold for a little bit longer, and then let it go. One last deep inhale in, and then gently, quietly release. How are you feeling? Tell me how you're feeling. I'd love to hear. What was your experience from today? We know every day is so different. We are different every day. The world is different every day. It's funny how the one thing that humans crave is constancy. And yet, the only thing constant is the stillness of death. Life is vibrant and changing always. So, if you're comfortable sharing your experience today, we'd love to hear it. Let me tell you a little bit about what the bowls were saying, which I feel like I need a minute to come back from. My nose is very itchy today for some reason with these bowls. There was such a stillness. There was this reverent, just very coming in, and a lot of focused honesty, honest dialogue. It felt like have you ever had someone who you love and you respect so much, and you're sharing something, and something that you would relish their guidance or perspective or opinion on or with, and they take your hand and they just look at you deeply in the eyes, and they may not even have to say anything, but you know exactly that they're asking you, what is your honest truth? That's exactly what the bowls felt like today. It was really interesting. They wanted to stay very specific. We were not really moving around much. They wanted to stay in a very certain frequency range, activating very specific notes. And interestingly enough, these notes, of course, which makes sense, they connect to the throat chakra. They also connect to our third chakra, the power, that place of where we make something happen. We bring something forth. We flick the flame in order to ignite something. So honest communication makes sense, Mercury. That power to ignite it, coupled with love, this really soft space. So we were really kind of staying within this area, within how we like to think about the bowls connecting to the physical body. Of course, it's a much greater conversation than just that. But there was this softness in the air, which was truly fascinating to feel. The bowls felt like velvet under my hands today. And they would speak very plainly, or they wouldn't speak at all. And it was one last interesting thing. There was one time that I felt like I needed to bring forth this particular bowl, which this bowl is a D and it connects to our second chakra. But the way the D was actually supporting the G was from a place of, I'm not going to sound, but I'm going to vibrate. So while my ear could hear very little of this bowl, I could feel the resonance coming out, and it augmented what was happening. It ignited what was happening over here with the G, with this communication. This is that creativity, that creation. So that was a really interesting experience that hasn't happened in a session before, and I thought it was really cool, so I thought it was worth sharing. So, Grace Ann, thank you so much for sharing. Oh, thank you for your kind words. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you, Grace Ann, and I don't think we've connected before. It's lovely to meet. You have a beautiful name. So beautiful. Thank you for being here. I'll look forward to seeing you again. Victor. I love you, dude. Groovy. Yes. Very groovy indeed. It was. It had this just very kind of grooving, subtle vibe to it. No, like groovy. I mean, maybe that's how you meant it, but how it came across to me was like, yeah. Maybe like a really good jazz beat that sort of happens and you fall into flow with it. Totally. Linda, you're feeling lighter, not as heavy. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's so beautiful. Thanks for sharing that. Alexa Klee, hey, it's good to see you. I felt a lot of intrusive energy on the left side of my aura, and I cleansed it with golden forks and bright yellow light and rainbows. Yes, perfect. Feeling more spacious now. Good. Good for you. I love, too, how there's such diversity in how we can experience. I heard something the other night. I thought this was so great. Religion calls it spirits. Science calls it energy. And I call it a vibe. I'm like, yeah, exactly. So whether you're dealing with spirits, energy, or vibe, whatever the nomenclature, there's an opportunity to really make these shifts. And that's exactly what you're doing, because names matter less than outcome, right? It's the journey of getting us there. So that's amazing, Alexa. I love that. And I love the yellow light and the rainbow. So this is so cool. Thanks for sharing that, because see, the rainbow, for those who haven't maybe tried kind of like how Alexa is approaching these sessions, if you haven't tried this yet, you may want to try this particular little exercise on for size. And we actually did. At one time we actually did bring in rainbow light. And that's because rainbow is the manifestation of all of our visible light spectrum. So the colors that we can see with our eyes. But remember, we can only see if we were to create notes out of the parameters of visible light. It would only be about an octave, which is actually what we're sitting in front of. So we got about an octave that we can see. But we can hear about 10 octaves. So even with the rainbow, remember, we have ultraviolet light. We have all different kinds of lights that radiate out. So sometimes, even without being aware of a vibration that we need, for me, what I like to do is think, imagine, or feel, or all of the above, a rainbow, and just kind of generally allow myself to think rainbow. And I don't have to define Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, violet, whatever. I can actually just allow all of the frequencies to begin to infiltrate my space. And when I do that, I'm bringing in stuff I didn't even know that I needed. And it's very healing. So Alexa, that is super groovy. And I appreciate you sharing that. Bex. Hi, Bex. Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for your kind words. It was very beautiful today, and I appreciate you helping co-create that. This is all about how we all show up together, and, that is the beauty of it. So thank you for that. And I love your little icon with the roses. So pretty. Hi, Christine. Fascinating description of your experience. Of course, my pleasure. And, it's interesting. When I describe, I can only do autobiographically, and I absolutely see life through a dichotomous lens of science, or in this case, theoretical music application, and spirit, vibration, that which cannot be described, physical and metaphysical. So I always appreciate you bearing with as I do get to dive into these experiences for me, because sometimes they resonate new understandings we found for some of our wonderful some of our wonderful friends. Jeremy, can you go see what's going on? Sorry, this sounds like there's some kind of emergency happening outside, so Jeremy's going to go run and take care of that. So look at that, talking about the physical, bringing it back for reals. Rosie, I joined late, and I'm so glad you came across the session. Oh, it's the first time with your bowls. Yes, good. Well, we were glad that you were here. It's always an interesting experience, and I'm still kind of trying to connect to the profundity of today, which was just very, very quiet. I guess it's a lot like an inner dialogue, right? So thank you for that, Rosie. Thank you for joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon. We'll actually be back tomorrow. We're back tomorrow it's a different time. Are you ready for this? It's 3 p.m. Eastern. So mark your calendars. If you're available to join us, I'd love to see you there. Neil, you feel more centered. That's great. That is amazing. Yes, good. And at the very end, we connected to that cultivating the chakra balancing. This time, we went from top to bottom. It felt like we needed to kind of ground back into the space. So that's kind of how we were guided today. So thank you for sharing. You're feeling more centered. I think that was definitely an intention that was set throughout the entire morning. Grace Ann, this is your first time sharing divine space with you. Thank you, Jeremy. Please don't kill yourself, honey. That's my delightful husband. So public service announcement. We just had baby raccoons outside, and they were hooting and hollering in such ways that Jeremy had to go and make sure everything was okay. And we are very blessed. We are surrounded by some really incredible wildlife that have adopted us, and we are glad to adopt them. So every night, Jeremy, he and or my mom or dad, they live right nearby. They go out and they feed our sweet babies. And for the mamas who are the mama raccoons who are preparing to give birth and or have just given birth and they don't have time to go and forage and scavenge, it's very beneficial to them. And the little sweet creatures are just that. They're precious, and they bring us so much joy. So thank you for bearing with us as we went to check and make sure everything was okay, because I have not heard that sound before. But apparently they're playing and they're very happy. So there you go. So Grace Ann, I apologize for stepping away from you for a moment, but I'm so glad you were here. It is a divine space, isn't it? And it is because it's the resonance that the bowls pick up and they reflect back. I think they reflect back aspects of our own truth and our own inner divinity. And just being able to be in these vibrations really bring us back to that centeredness, that groundedness, that truth. So thank you for sharing that. And I look forward to seeing you again as well. Yeah, very aligned story that goes with it. I'm glad to acknowledge you, of course. Of course. We're a community. That's the beautiful thing about being here together. And I thank you so much for your donation as well. Grace Ann, thank you. Sometimes, many of us know that, and I'm sure you've probably seen in other lives as well, sometimes the donations don't always pop up on my end, or in the chat. Sometimes they show up on your side, but not on my side. Technology, we love it. Can also be a little glitchy sometimes. So if I don't acknowledge your name, please know I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support. We've got some really great stuff coming up. Like I said at the beginning, we're actually getting ready to release an album on September 30th. We've got some workshops right now that are in the works that will be happening towards the end of the year and fall, towards the end of fall and into December. I'm so excited to share those with you, so I'll keep you posted as we go. If you want to learn more, just pop over to the teacher page when we're done. Or if you just forget, you can always go to insighttimer.com/Charleene. Really easy. Not the easiest way to spell Charlene, but it's just Charleene. You can also find our website. You can find us online. It has lots of things that are going on and that are coming up that I'm very excited to share with you. There's always goodness coming out. We try to always find goodness to bring forth into the world and reflect back and hold. Because whenever I can challenge myself to be a better person and I do my work, we're all benefiting, right? Everybody benefits when the individual becomes more of who they are and their honest truth. So, Alexa, you love raccoons. Yeah, they are very, very sweet. And you know what, friends? I love you. I hope you have had a beautiful, wonderful, pleasant midday experience with us as the moon is transiting through Mercury, trining with Mercury, creating this beautiful dance, this flow, this fluidity of honest, integrous communication, communication with others, and communication with ourselves. Until we meet again, please know how special you are, and you are totally and groovily divine beings. I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Sat Nam.